Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. I'm your intrepid host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you on this Wednesday evening, October the 3rd. Oh, yes, it's October. And I greet you with love, blessings, and honor to every one of you who stop by and hang out, visit the chat, listen to this little um, diatribe of mine, if you will. And I want everyone to understand that I am here to help folks go through this transition period with as much ease and understanding and information as possible, with going straight to the source, meaning creator, that I keep describing is there all the time. Now, in the last few days, I've kind of been a little bit puzzled with some of the angel messages I've been getting. And the confusion has been, you know, I keep talking about it, and I mean this with the utmost of respect for everyone. Um, I see folks and watch folks and listen, and I pay a lot of attention to other people, to other chat rooms and things. And a lot of times folks don't even know I'm there. I'm just watching and listening, you know. And what keeps coming back around is that, you know, folks are they're struggling. They're struggling to understand and find out what this ascension is all about. And in some folks' mind, it's the rapture. And I keep trying to tell folks, listen up. It's not about ascension. You can't climb the stairs without knowing how to climb. And the word is that I keep that keeps get shoved down my throat, so to speak, is that it's not about ascension, it's about the transition. Now, I'm not going to mince words here. I'm going to use the word ascension in this particular little video, and I have no idea how long this thing's going to be. Now, I see somebody is a viewer in the chat room. Google and YouTube and everybody's acting weird, Chrome, etc., and I can't see the chat room again. Okay, it took me almost an hour to try to do a live stream, so I'm here and I want to do this just because it's on my mind. Anyway, so blessings to you, whoever you are. I can't see the chat room, so just say it. So with this ascension, people are going in all kinds of directions, and in a way, there's chaos in what they're trying to learn. And I say that because there's so much chaos in the learning process that people don't know where to look. And so they're looking for ascension things, and they're looking for this, and they're looking, you know, we're going to take ayahuasca, or we're going to take hallucinogens or anything like that. I'm going to do another video strictly on hallucinogens and good, bad, indifferent, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and I'll just say right here, if you decide to take any type of hallucinogen to try to expand your mind, you should have a guide, period. If you go off on your own, there's no telling what could, might, and very well would happen without the proper training. So I want folks to understand it's not about who's better, who's worse, who's got it, who don't. But people are just seem to be mired in the mud. And I've talked about this in that, you know, I talk about the red road, which is the road to ascension. That's the Native Americans' description, is when you're on the red road, you're on the right path to ascension, to transition, to the higher self, to creator. Okay. All right. So with that basic understanding, what we need to go into is we need to do our homework on ourselves. We need to go inside ourselves and do that homework. That's part of the training, because we have to be able to figure out our vibrations. Now, there are a lot of folks who, and listen, I love everyone who's on this path and who aren't, but to the point though, is anyone making progress in this? So there are folks who have these wonderful visions and wonderful things, and they do these wonderful things for each other. But I keep coming back to the same question for other people now. Are you making progress? Have you had readings and so forth and things? Are you making progress? Now, I'm not here to judge anyone. That's not my point. My point is for you to question yourself. Do you feel after the last year of looking and seeking and reading, listening to the past and trying to understand about the Akashic records and all this kind of stuff? And it's all important. Yes, it is. But there are too many people, and I was given this little vision the other night, if you will, of people on the red road, on that path of enlightenment, who are walking backwards towards the light. Now, just picture this in your head. Just picture any road, and on to the left, or I don't care, pick the right, but to the left, it's like, okay, there's ascension is that way. Enlightenment is in that direction. And so everybody's on the road and they're all kind of moving in that direction towards the light. But there are a lot of folks who are walking towards the light backwards because they're looking in their past to find the future. Now, what I keep being told is that we need to focus more on the future. What do we wish to manifest? So now I get this. A lot of people are in, and it's not my opinion. I'm getting these messages to have these conversations because folks need to be able to take a simple look at themselves and go, well, am I any further along in this? Or is Hawkeye right in that I may be one of those people who are standing still? Or maybe I'm walking towards the light backwards. So, and what I was shown in this little picture, vision thingy, whatever, and it was a lot said in just like one good flash of meditation picture, or whatever you want to call it, my angel message. And it was that I could see people who were on the road and they're walking backwards, the lights behind them shining over their shoulders, but they're worried about what happened in the past and how they got where they are. And one of the things is, it doesn't really matter how you got where you are now. What's important is that you turn yourself around and face the light, face the direction you're going. Because people, the lights behind me, people are looking over their shoulder, making sure they're on the road, but they're not looking at it. They're not facing towards it. Now, why did I bring in this? How will you know without training? And every day I meditate, and there are days that I get these messages, or questions or things, and it's like this came down to me, and it's like, I understand because I've had near-death experiences. I have focused on those to find out what that meant for me. Now, not everybody has the opportunity, if you will, to have a near-death experience. Not that it's all that fun. That's not where I'm at with this. But unless you've had a super, super duper spiritual kind of thing, and I'm being kind about this, you really don't have a clue. You've got a lot of assumptions by people who have been there. I mean, I've been there. I have tried to discuss it, tried to explain it. What is the feeling? What does it look like? And it's like, it's really difficult to describe what that feeling is and where you are and what's going on. But I can tell you that you are flooded with information. You are flooded with love. You are flooded with all kinds of things. So it's like, in this right now, each one of us are training the other person. Okay. We are all responsible in this. So there has to be someone in the group that says, are you still walking backwards? Not that it is important, but I gotta be that, I gotta be the mud in the cog, if you will. I'm the guy that's going to muddy up the system. Okay. Because I'm simply asking you to ask yourself, do you feel that you have progressed? It's not a contest, but it is important. We continue to talk about frequencies. It's our individual frequency. There, I know back in the day, if you go to the carnival or to the fair, if you're a child, they got a little line that says, anybody not tall enough can't get on this ride. I worked on the carnival for 30 years. Okay. So I'm really well aware of this. But to the point, though, it's like, okay. And I saw some kids go home and put on like high heeled boots or something to be able to get on a particular ride, like to ride the tilt-a-whirl or something, you know. But here's the point, though. There is a galactic rule. It's a cosmic rule. It's not like there's a God sitting there with a pen and paper. It has to do with frequency. Now, in that particular essence, what do you do on a daily basis to increase your frequency? Now you say, well, I watched a video and I did some studying, but everything I was studying had to do with the past. I'm studying ancient scrolls and ancient texts. I'm reading ancient Bible scriptures, and I'm trying to feel spiritual. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. But, and I keep bringing this up, yes, I know, and it's pissed a few people off, I know. And it has to do, but are you looking backwards too much? You're on this road. You've got this already enough enlightenment to understand there's something different out there. But are you walking backwards? You're still on the road. You could be in a group just kind of milling around. You just could be standing there by yourself, just kind of looking like, oh, hell, I don't know where I'm at, which is what I did for quite a few years. But in the question of bigger things, not whether, well, I don't know. Hang on with that. Ask yourself a question. Don't call up your friend and go, hey, do you think? No. Sit down with yourself. Do a little checklist. Well, okay. Let's go back over some of the transition basics that I have discussed. Do you understand nature fully? And I mean to the point that it's not that you understand the workings of it, but do you understand that nature, that earth and all of her things have a spiritual nature, and that we are all connected in this great universe? That's a very key thing. Do you understand that I did a video about 10 commandments versus, the basic law of one, or do no harm to any person or any being? And I come to realize that, the 10 commandments aren't enough, because the first 4 commandments all deal with God. And it's the last 6 that have to deal with, and 2 of them have to do with coveting things, and it's like, okay, they don't, the 10 commandments really don't cover everything that needs to be covered, in my humble opinion. But that one law, the one universal law, do no harm to any being, covers it all. I mean, it covers molecules to suns. I mean, because if you understand the greater nature of things, then you will understand that, I have to understand these things in order for me to get to this transition spot. In order to quote, you got to understand this before you ever get anywhere near ascension. Because you can't leave this earth if you don't understand that there are powers that are here right now that you can leave right now. And how it's like, I use this thing about Jesus when he got out of the boat in the storm in the Sea of the Galilee with the apostles, and he's out there walking around. He tells Peter, come on, get out. And Peter's like, no, I can't do this. And, oh, ye of little faith. Now, whether that actually happened or not, okay, it's a cool story. It really is. And then he calmed the storm. Well, people say that was a miracle. But what Jesus, the Christ consciousness, and the Buddha consciousness, etc., is that we possess these powers. We possess the angel power in order to draw from the cosmos and from the universe and use it, especially wisely, we could walk on water if we need to. We can do all these wonderful things, I mean, the little old lady who picks up a car because her granddaughter or grandchild stuck underneath. I mean, we've heard of at 66 years old, I've heard stories over the years, almost once a year, there is some story somewhere about an extreme feat of, heroic act, if you will. And it's like, this person didn't have the thing, whatever, and they were possessed for a short time, this extra energy, and it's like, it's here. We got it. Little old granny ladies have it. Little old granny men have it, We all have it. Children have it. So this requires training. Now, the training is, as I've been stating, look inside yourself, do the checklist, how's my energy doing today? How many times did I get pissed off? Now, I did a Facebook video after I did the YouTube video on boy rape, and I lost my temper. I was pissed by the time I got there. I had to delete the video. There was just, what I said was true and all the things that I said, but the anger in my voice and in my being, it took me a day to like shut up, go back over this, and I had to calm down. It's still going on, with, the Kavanaugh thing and all these people. I mean, they're really trying to make groping equal to rape. I'm not going into this, but I'm just bringing this up again as a, people are trying to make small things to be big things. And at the same time, they're trying to make big things to be small things. Like, oh man, rape is just like groping. But at the same tone, these same folks will say, oh, but groping is the same as rape. And that's where my anger was. It's not. There are so many women and men who have had to go through trauma in order to understand this. And for the outside world to try to make us believe these things, we're being sucker punched. We're being drawn into the chaos. Our energy's being siphoned off. So in this ascension, my transition verse, are you still paying too much attention to stuff on the sides? Now, it was brought up just a couple of days ago. I check over 300 different videos every day, different channels, different everything. There's about 300 at least. And I'm always checking, looking, reading, listening, okay. So when I say this, I'm not picking on anybody, but I am worried that folks are stuck. And in my job of speaking with people, let's make sure you're making progress. Even if it's tiny little micro steps, are you making progress? And I'm asking that to you. I can't decide that. It's not my place to judge. We can have a conversation and I could say, well, do you understand this thing? Or do you understand that thing? And to the point though, it's about what do you understand? What do you understand about physical law? In other words, like the universe. Do you just, all you have to do is understand that there are molecules, there are atoms, there are little nanoparticles. There are things that are so small we can't see. In fact, earlier I was trying to do this live stream and there was a great big orb that was stuck in the corner of the screen and it would not allow me to go live. And I took 3 separate pictures for the thumbnail thing, and each one of them all had a varying degree of a huge orb over here on the side of the screen. couldn't go live, but it was like, whoa, there's a presence here in my place today. So what you need to do is check in with yourself. If you haven't been going outside and you're just dreaming about it, if you haven't physically went and sat with a tree a couple of times a week, if you're not making your time available to nature in order to increase your frequency, then you may be standing still. Okay. Well, nature and everything, you can think about it all day long, but until you go meld with a tree, your understanding of what needs to be done, of where we are in this reality. And if you never have melded with a tree, you're not going to be aware of what ascension could be, because melding with a tree and having that information and feeling yourself rise up in the tree and feel yourself to become a leaf. That's part of what you need to learn. Yeah, well, it's just a tree, and now that's basic. What about all this other stuff? What about Enki and Enlil and all the Akashic? Have you meditated with a tree yet? Have you been able to feel the leaves when you meditate? Have you allowed your energy to mix with the energy of the tree? If you haven't, then all this other stuff is kind of BS, because you're still avoiding the basic concepts of what it means. If you're trying to think you're attached to nature, that's not the same as being attached to nature. Now, I have several trees that were favorites of mine. I can meditate, picture myself sitting under this tree, because I have meditated with these trees before. And with my physical disabilities and so forth over the years, to where I can't get to my favorite trees when I want to, or the skeeters are too bad, I can imagine myself sitting underneath that tree. I can put my spirit self underneath the tree and then meditate with the tree. But if you've never meditated with the tree, then how are you going to know? That's part of the training. How are you going to know what ascension feels like, or transition? But folks are thinking like, oh, ascension, it's like all this stuff's going to hit me at one time. And if it does, what the hell are you going to do with it? If you've not had training with simple things and being able to see through your third eye, understanding that you can move around your house with your eyes closed, when you understand this energy, when you understand on this 3D plane, when 4D comes and you start getting your feet wet during the transition, you're going to get it. You're going to understand the basics of these things. But if you think you're going to hop and skip and jump a grade, sorry, in the galaxy, in the cosmos, it does not work that way. You don't skip class. You have to go through it. Now, does it mean that you got to like die and slither into dark? No. I ain't saying that. But I am saying, are you focusing more of what is to come, what you want to come? Okay, so what has your training been up to this point? And look, I got to tell you, I love every one of you who do these readings and so forth and are empathic and so forth. Yes, I'm asking this question again, though. Are the answers or are you seeking something? Otherwise, somebody gives you a reading, you're looking for something. Did you find it? Did it bring you any new information? Was it just stuff that was like, well, that's cool. Well, yeah, I kind of understood that. But did it help you to progress? And my suggestion with you is, if somebody's doing a reading for you, then ask what's to come, not where you've been. Yes, it's important, but we really need to be looking towards the future. Now, you say, well, Dave, yeah, I know. I've heard this shit before from you. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to go look backwards and we're going to talk about the Akashic record again, when nobody really flipping knows. It's an opinion. So why would you waste your energy on something that's like, well, kind of not sure, and everybody's got a different opinion? I've not heard any two people discuss the Akashic record and them come out with the same flipping words. Not two people from anywhere who discuss it. And I'm talking about in the big realms, small realms. No two people are, everybody's got a different opinion of the Akashic record. Well, because it's their own personal record that's part of it. So my personal Akashic record ain't going to be the same as somebody else's over here. So, but we're arguing or discussing the difference between our Akashic records. Who cares? Is it going to help you with tomorrow? That's the key. So in our training, the training is, we need to, it's there. Some of it is good information, but how can I focus on tomorrow and the next day? And how can I use these cosmic forces, these energies, to manifest tomorrow. That what needs to be important, not our Akashic records or stuff in the past. Like I said, that's all good and everything, but right now, with all the things that are happening on this planet, all these energies, and yeah, this last day, the October the 2nd, and even today, there were some huge human spikes again. So the planet is still getting bombarded from these cosmic energies, and Mother Earth is still sending out these human resonances that are literally off the chart. Okay. I checked just an hour or so ago before I started this video. Spikes today, just within the last few hours. Okay. So here we are with this. Now, are you taking these human resonances? And I'm there in my spirit dream or whatever. I've asked the question, all right, these human resonances are coming in. How can I use those energies that are already here? My feet are on the ground barefoot. So it's like, okay, how can I use Earth's energy to help manifest tomorrow? What can I do? Well, in my particular case, there are parts of my physical body that are healing, which I'm like, really, that's really strange. I mean, my left leg, I can bend it more now than I have since 1967. Okay, when I got it broken playing football. So there are miracles happening to me on a physical basis. But and I'm very grateful with that. But to the point, though, I asked Creator and the spirits, hey, but I want to manifest tomorrow. It's not that I want $1 million, but I want to bring this, quote, ascension thought to other people. I wish to speak on it. I wish to speak clearly and with truth. How can I do this? That's what I wish to manifest. I wish to manifest things so that other people will see that what is coming in the future and quit worrying so much about the past. And they keep giving me this thing, well, how can we talk about the future when it's the future and it hasn't happened? And how can I say, well, what I wish to manifest, and there are millions of us around the planet who wish to manifest peace, harmony, no hunger, get rid of the homeless people. I mean, take care of the homeless. I don't mean get rid of them, but I mean take care of the homeless issue, So how do we manifest this? We pray for tomorrow. We pray for next week. We pray for next year. We say, my intention is peace is coming. Peace is here. I wish, so there are lots of ways to go into this. But there are folk who think that Ascension is going to come whether they train for this or not. And the answer I'm getting, like right now, is tell these folks you're going to end up in the waiting pool, the kiddie waiting pool, regardless of what you think, until you take care of certain core issues. Can you expand the mind you have now and extend it into nature? Now, again, this ain't me saying no, you got to do your own homework. And you got to ask Creator. You got to ask the spirits. You got to ask the angels, however you want to look at this. Now, as you probably heard up to now, I haven't used the word God. So I'm always saying, go straight to Creator, straight to Source. The energy's always there. So, but with a lot of people, it's like, yeah, but I can't go without my Bible. Well, that's a crutch. Okay. But at least you're trying. All right. Now, there are some folks who don't have anything. They have excuses, Well, I heard that once in a while, or I think that's BS, or, why should I waste my time? I can't affect the future. Really? Trump got elected. Other things have happened. Lots of stuff have happened that 2 years ago I would have never believed could have happened. And I look around even today and I go, you know what? 2 years ago, I thought in 2 years we'd all be dead. And I was worried along with a lot of other people. But now that we're not all dead, at least, we don't think so, um, can we progress? So let's take the last 2 years since Trump was elected. Now, this ain't about politics. I'm just saying, since then, there has been a paradigm change in this 3D world. And so in just this last year, many of us have been awakened to many other things. So it's like, we need to look at those. We need to look in the past, just within the last 6 to 8, or maybe even a year. Let's look back only that far for now and see, wait a minute, this changed. Well, I saw that. I understand this now. Holy crap. And when you go just in the last year, okay, 2, just take those last 2 years and do a little checklist. Well, 2 years ago, I didn't believe this shit. And 2 years ago, I didn't believe that. 2 years ago, I wasn't having like telepathic communications. So what you need to do is go through your little thingy down your little list or whatever, but take a look at the last 2 years and see if you have progressed. And then if so, look at those things. Well, I listened, maybe you listened to me and said, whoa, God, Dave, Hawkeye threw out an idea that I just had no idea about. Well, thank you very much. That's why I'm here. I'm here to just give you another point of view. It's not about whether I'm right or wrong, but it is whether or not it agrees with you. And it is about frequency. Now, I keep meditating back over the stuff that I talk about with you. And when I focus on it, when I ask for clarification, when I meditate, pray, etc., I come back 2 days later and go, yeah, it's still true. That information is good. And there's how I know. I eat it. I eat that thought. I eat that question and put it into me physically. And when it comes out in my chest as this really good, strong, warm, oh boy, I realize that has hit my heart soul and my soul's heart. I realize that, holy crap, I've asked about it. They showed it to me. And I was like, well, I think it's pretty true. But no, wait, hang in there. So it's like, how are you going to know? How full is your chest? How full is your soul heart? How full is your heart's soul? And I can't answer that, but can you feel a difference? Can you see a change? Now, it says there's 7 viewers in here right now. And for those of you who joined late, I cannot see the chat because Google Chrome and all this stuff has messed up YouTube again. So I can only see that there are people viewing. So if you've asked a question or made a comment, please apologize. I can't see them. All right. I would answer, but because I think this is an important issue. So again, I'm not picking on anybody. There are people, when I say things like that, I brought this up before about as a director and as an actor, you have to be able to understand what it means to be critiqued. As an actor, you have to listen to the director and go, Dave, you should have been downstage a little further. You should have been, turn a little more to your right or be more towards center stage. And you can't get your feelings hurt. You have to take it as a critique because whoever is the director, maybe it's another actor. I mean, there's sometimes 2 or 3 actors will get together and critique each other. Well, I could have done better here. And when I say this line and I deliver it, but you critique each other. And it's so that everybody gets better. But if someone's critiquing you, it's because they see something that is slightly off. And if you did this minor change, you could be extremely good at it. Now, I've directed many, many, many people, at least probably several hundred over the years of my long career as a director and as an actor. But to the point, though, there are people that even who have been actors for quite a while, and they don't, a critique is a personal offense. Well, I thought it should have been this way. And then you told me I was standing down stage too far. Yeah, well, you were upstaging everybody and you were blocking this other person from, the audience. And, so we have to look at this thing from a point of view is like, wait a minute, I'm here because I want everybody to do better. It's not about me getting better at it. It's about other folks getting better at it, being able to see simple things that will help them to increase their frequencies. So, to folks who are focusing again in the past too much, trying to change the direction of that and say, okay, what in the past have I learned that could help me with the future? Okay. So when I read things, Buddha, whatever, even, the Christ consciousness thing and other areas and stuff, I think to myself, okay, I'm looking backwards, but only to find a reference to see if it will help me in the future. Now, I have made this statement, and again, I say it, the wisdom of the ancients is there, but it's only as good as how we can interpret that wisdom. So I listened to something by, Heracles or something like that, and I go, wow, that's really cool, but how do I apply that? That's 2,500 years old from Greece. How do I take that and apply it in my life now? Or is it just a cool statement that this old guy made 2,500 years ago? Well, there are folks who are saying, wow, that's really interesting, but they're not using the information. They're not taking, it's not like you have to take the whole story. It might only be it might be 3 or 4 words in all of what Hermes or Homer or whatever, what did you take out of this? You can read all the stories about Ulysses trying to get home. But, it basically, he ticked off the gods, if you understand the story. And instead of him just going straight home to Greece, he's out there wandering around in the Mediterranean, and he never gets there. And he sees Cyclops, the Sirens, all these other different groups. But he learned every time that he was in one of those things. Now, are all Cyclops bad? Or, okay, to the Sirens. So, but he learned, his crew learned, and they learned together from the things that they went through. Okay, fine. But there are the trials of Ulysses and Hercules and all that. There are things in there that we can use now. The whole story, no, we're not walking around with swords and poking each other and, okay. So take what is necessary. And there are things that are there. Ask for wisdom from Creator, from the galactics, however you want to put it, from the angels in your meditation. Say, okay, I've looked past, maybe I am one of those people on the red road that Dave's describing who's walking backwards towards the light. So just ask yourself, okay, I'm looking past because there's information there because some of these guys did ascend or transition or whatever you want to call it. How can what did they teach that will help me now versus looking at the whole damn picture where there's so much information and a lot of it is skewed left, right, up, down. And we really don't know how much of it is actually true. We don't. We can assume, well, even carbon-14 dating and stuff, that's so bad. Oh, well, it's 13,502 years old. Oh, give me a break. I've studied nature enough to understand that there are things in nature that could fool you in a test. So with that said, how much do we take about it? Well, it was really old. Well, they built the pyramids 2,500 years ago. Well, I think they're older, but that's my opinion. So don't get hung up on, well, it was 500 years older or 5,000 years old. Stop it. They're older than what they're telling us. There's more there than what they know. There's more things and some of the things they do know, they're not telling us. So how can we make a good judgment call when the history, all of what's supposed to be true is not true because they're not telling us the truth? So we need to quit looking at all these corners for the answers. Because the answers, if you understand Akashic records and some of this stuff, is in us. It's in us. It's in our DNA. It's in each one of us. So if we ask for the help of the spirits, which include tree spirits, nature spirits, do you understand that they exist? Well, they could. Well, if you've not experienced them, then you're not going to get some of this ascension transition stuff. If you don't understand that there are beings that exist in this same space with me, you're going to be freaking terrified when the veil is lifted off your eyes. You're going to be so surprised, you're going to be like puking off the ride. You know, oh my God, it was, I know that's a little graphic, but to the point, it's like, it's going to be so overwhelming to people. So when I talk about the transition and I talk about us going into the waiting pool, I mean that with respect. We can't just jump off these cliffs and think we're going to get it. And when we hit ascension, it ain't going to happen. We have to train for this. But at the same time, looking backwards is not the only answer. The answers really aren't written there. The wisdom of it is, so you have to discern the wisdom and just simply ask for it. Well, I read this thing and all about that, yada, 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 and it was all really cool and everything, but what was the overall impact of the whole, you know, Homer thing? You know, it's like, well, they stole this girl and then they brought all these folks over to fight about it. And, you know, and that was really stupid. But anyway, you know, but to the point, it was like all these conflicts. I mean, inside the Greeks, there were conflicts. Inside the Trojans, there were conflicts. So it was a great big soap opera. And I bring that up just as an example of ancient history and so forth. But in that, there is wisdom in some of the text. In what Achilles does, you know, Achilles' heel, you know. If he hadn't, you know, prompted and bullied, and I can't remember the guy's name from the Troy side, but he tied his body to the back of the chariot and just kept running around and running around until there wasn't anything left, you know. So, of course, they were pissed. It would have been one thing if he had just killed him in battle and left it at that, but no, he had to drag his body around till, okay, so, you know, there's overkill. Get your revenge and be done with it. Or actually, we shouldn't be looking for revenge. And see what revenge will get you? The reason Achilles was invincible was because they dipped him in holy water, and the only thing that didn't get covered was his heel, because that's what they were holding him by. So every one of us has our own Achilles heel. Something that will wound us. Do we know what that is? I know the other day when I went off on that Facebook video, pedophilia and rape of young boys, rape period, but I mean of boys who and everything, it got me so pissed off, mad, it took me a day. I had to just shut up. I had to be quiet. I had to pray. I had to go back in and delete that video because I realized I was angry at the time. What I said was true, but I don't want that anger out there. I want the truth out there, but I don't want the anger. You know, that was my decision. It was my decision to get mad or not to get mad. I got mad. I don't want to be portrayed being mad. Should I get angry once in a while and say pedophiles and priests and the church is bad? You damn right. And that's as far as that anger should go. Make my point and get on with it. But I wallered in it the other day. But I've got 50 years of bitching about it, and it just kind of came up after all this stuff. But did I learn from my own mistake the other day? I lowered my vibration. I spent all this time trying to raise my vibration, and in, quote, a couple of hours of video on Facebook and YouTube, I got so freaking pissed that it was like I drained my own energy. I lost my own frequency. I wished to discuss the thing, but I got mad about it. And not just for a minute or two, for 2.5 hours, I got mad. I lowered my own frequency. I lost. I didn't gain in that respect. And so I couldn't even allow it to be, I might very well delete the one that I did on the YouTube as well. But I wasn't near as pissed off as I was on the Facebook page. But anyway. So I'm using myself as, you know, here we go. Yeah, I got pissed. And yeah, and it took me a day. And then I had to realize, and it was through my little angel message thing. Dave, do you know how much you lowered your vibrations the other night? Because you allowed that something triggered me and I went off the chain. So that's just a 2 days ago story about how I lost my own track. And now I gotta well, I had to go in and apologize. I didn't apologize in the video, but I'm apologizing now, for example, for losing my temper. And I will do a Facebook video and apologize for my behavior to those who may have seen it. And I'm going to be a little bit kinder. I'm going to still tell the truth, and I'm going to bring the same subject up, but I'm not going to be mad like I was the other night. I was irate. Oh my gosh. And then I realized whatever it was that I was telling people not to get involved with, and, you know, don't become emotionally involved with things that are going on every day. But, you know, when you get pedoed by a priest or whoever, I was pedoed by others, not just priests. So I look at this and I look back and I think to myself, yeah, maybe I forgave these folk, and yeah, but there's still a lot of anger in there, Dave. Oh, holy crap. So I still got my own homework to do, obviously, from my anger outburst the other day. And now there are folks that go, yeah, but you got a reason to, you know, you were, well, you know what though? But in this new thinking, in this new realm, it doesn't matter now. What matters, and one of the things that I was PO'd about, was the fact that there are boys and girls being raped now, and nothing's being done about it. I carried my 50 years of anger and brought it into the present, used what's going on now, and that's what built my anger. I became emotionally involved in it. Now, again, folks would say, well, yeah, but what did that anger do me? None. It lowered my vibrations. Did it help my story? I doubt it. If anything, it probably shocked people, and they were like, damn, I don't want to listen to Dave if he's going to go off the rails like this. You know, I was speaking in many ways in the negative rather than the positive. And so it's like, hey, I'm guilty myself, you see. So are we all immune to this? No. Even those of us who've been meditating for 50 years can get pissed off and sidetracked, okay? I mean, Buddha could have been pissed off, but it's how you deal with it. What did I learn from my experience of getting pissed off the other night? It wasn't worth it. I felt crappy, shitty afterwards. I was like, man, I let it out. I let that anger out. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't. Did I make my point? There was so much anger in what I said. Did anybody hear it? Or did all they hear was the anger? So with speaking about this, about how are we training? We're training ourselves, but are we? We have to look at the bigger picture. What did I did today and got pissed off, whatever. Okay, but did you try to apologize to yourself? Did you go in and do a little bit of back work and go, you know, I got pissed off today and I really shouldn't have. And it's not that you should drag it forward and, oh my God, oh, I did so bad. That ain't it. You got to recognize it, deal with it, say I should have done better here, and move on and do better the next time. So it's not about what you did. It's that I don't want to do that again. I wish to change. I wish to do better in whatever it is. Now, this is just my little talk. This is my experience. Go back and watch the video. See how pissed I was. You can't watch the Facebook one because I deleted it. But to the point, though, trust me, I was really mad. And not at those who did it, but to the Catholic Church now. Moving on. What does that mean about our training? What is this? Well, this is part of our training. Even in my speaking to other folk, don't get emotionally charged up from past things and events. I did exactly what I have, you know, I'm preaching to the choir here. Well, the choir must have had their ears plugged the other day because I lost my temper. I let it get to me. I'm still human, you know, that's the point. We're all still human. But can we see beyond our human selves? Now, folks will say, damn, Dave, you had every freaking right to cuss and be pissed and, you know, and be as graphic as you were. And I think to myself, no, I didn't have that right. That right I gave up years ago when I said I forgive them for their craziness, and I need to move on from this. I wish to move forward from all this that happened all those years ago and go into the future. And I went in there and dug the damn thing up myself and pissed myself off, you know? And it's like, that's useless energy. And so it took me a whole day to recuperate from my own nonsense, to try to go, oh man, you know. Now, am I wrong in my opinion? No. But how I dealt with it and how I cussed, cursed, screamed, and hollered at the damn screen was absolutely not necessary, because people only saw the anger. So, and in my own life, when somebody's screaming and holler at me, am I listening to what they're saying? I'm just reacting to the anger. So in my life of learning how to do these things, in my training, I have to go through and go, well, you know what? I could have handled that better. I've dealt with it before and I handled it better. But whatever it was the other day that set me off, shame on me for letting it set me off the way it did. Okay. That's my own example. So even though I'm on the red road, even though I'm looking for enlightenment, even though I try to stay connected, I disconnected the other day. I disconnected myself. That's part of my training. I have to be able to discuss things that are 50 years old and piss me off, but be able to speak about them and not show the anger that I did. That's the training. In so many ways, I failed miserably the other day. Now, I'm not holding it against me. I have moved on from this, but I have to discuss this with you now because you see, this happened. It was the other day. Any of you might have listened to it or whatever. So you can see the difference. But in my training, I realized, oh crap, I did exactly what I'm trying to warn other people not to do. I got to be careful too. There's so much chaos. Now, training. Are you training who? Wait. With all the people that I've listened to, and some of them I thought were like, quote, masters, or that they were of more knowledge than myself, I have realized that I look around and it's like nobody's showing me anything new. Everybody is rehashing stuff over and over and over again, you know, and it's like, well, wait a minute, hang on. So it's like, and I mean this with respect for folks, but it's like, in some instances, I'm rehashing stuff too. I get that. I try to pick a subject though that is like, here's the subject, and this is all kind of tangled up inside of it. All right. And yes, I repeat myself. And for several reasons, it needs to be repeated. So you make sure I'm repeating it for myself too, that we need to understand this. So listen to other people, but are you becoming so involved with the theory of what this person may be saying? And I'm going to just say, whoa, oh, I'm going to do readings for other people. Oh, I realized that I have a little bit of talent at this, and ooh. And well, okay, you want to serve others and folks, but I'm here to tell folks, and this is the galactic saying, if you're new at this, just do it for yourself. Don't try to expand it on other people, because there's too much chaos right now. There's too much, the water's too muddy. I mean, you can put on the best goggles in the world, but you ain't seeing past here. You're going to be bumping into rocks, into nasty things. And this, yes, it could be part of your training, but it also could kill your ass. It could also drain so much of the energy and the positiveness that you've already achieved. It could literally drag you backwards. You could still be on the road, but that you could lose energy and you end up 2 miles back and go, oh shit. But here's the thing. There's some of this stuff that is so like, oh, that's really cool, but it's a sidetrack. Stay focused. That's part of our training. Stay focused, not on the past, but on what we are doing right now. And that's my little story about getting pissed off. That just happened the other day. I got pissed off that day. I dealt with it later on that same day. And within 24 hours, the video was gone. And I had made up my decision. I had taken the lesson, if you will, of becoming angry during the chaos. And I said, here it is. Oh, crap. I see it. Shouldn't have done that. Yeah, all right. And dealt with it. And I'm dealing with it now to tell you, see, we all make mistakes. No matter how far along we are anywhere along the way, there's something inside each one of us that could trigger us into this insanity that I went through for a couple hours the other night. Now, is it important? Yes. But it can be discussed with graphic detail, but not the way I presented it the other night without anger. It can be discussed and dealt with, yes, and should be. Now, so to these other things. Now, there are folks out there, and I just know, I love them to death. I do. I really do. Y'all are working on some stuff that's really difficult. Did anybody leave any of us a lesson plan? No. They left us some wisdom, a lot of wisdom, but we have to interpret it for us now in the present. So reading about Heracles or Hercules or, you know, Homer, and I'm just bringing up the Greeks as a thing. If you're stuck back there, how are you using that ancient information to get you to focus in the present, to get you to tomorrow or the next day or next year? And that's what the angels keep telling me. We got to start manifesting what we desire now for tomorrow. If we keep looking backwards, we're not focusing. Okay. Like I say, it's not that the information's bad or we shouldn't do it. It's that it's in the wrong direction. We're looking backwards. This is the time now. September had a lot of high energy in it. We've already, the last few days with the Schumann resonance, we've already spiked several times, just a few hours ago, in fact. So, but with that said, let's use these energies for tomorrow, not looking backwards. Let's use these energies to see what's in it for the next time through. Use what you see in your rear view mirror for how I avoid an accident in the future. So, what does the future hold for us? Well, right now, there's a lot of information that the timelines are being stabilized, that those bad guys who messed up the timelines in 2012, they have now been healed. There are literally galactic battles going on in our solar system and elsewhere, but in our solar system. When you look at the different Cora and all the, different satellites and stuff, when you look at the planet, when you look at the sun, and you see how big it is, and you see all these objects in these stereo left, stereo right, and everything, Earth's about this big, and these things that are coming around and everything are like as big as, or maybe 2, 3, 4 times bigger than the Earth. Now we can all say, well, okay, there may be ET, but do they have these great big ships out there? Well, a lot of us have seen them. They're hiding in clouds, and we were told 2 years ago that they would be hiding in clouds, and that more people would be able to take pictures of these as these ships got lower and lower and started making themselves visible. Well, it is happening. You can look around the world and there's really good pictures of UFOs that are better than what's in the movies kind of deal, and they're real. And so we have to accept this. Are they here to help us or eat us? The ones who want to eat us are already here. That's who we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to get rid of those critters who wish to eat us. Now, there are things going on. There was a shooting in South Carolina today. There was a bombing somewhere the other day, a car bomb, something. I mean, these crazy people aren't through yet. When was the last time we had a car bomb in the United States? Oklahoma City, back in the 90s. Last time I can remember that somebody like set off a bomb in a vehicle. So 20 plus years ago, 22, 3 years ago, they're going to start car bombing again. These folks are going to try to do anything possible, because if you haven't heard of Agenda 21, then look it up. They are still trying to make this thing happen. And there are the good guys who are saying, no, you're not. Now, what can we do as part of our training? We can focus on the future. We can focus our energy and say, y'all ain't doing this. You might get over here, but you ain't doing it. And we all need to focus on future events. They got shit planned we don't know about. So we need to put forth some of this empathic energy and cosmic energy and everything to see if maybe some of us can, in a way, remote view what may happen. Now, I've remote viewed many things, and I'm here to tell you, I'm glad some of these things didn't happen. Now, there are some people who would say, well, then your little remote viewing, your vision or whatever, it was inaccurate. It was inaccurate because other things happened that changed events so that what I saw didn't happen. It didn't have to happen. So if I see something in the future, now my reaction is, well, they tell me, Hawkeye, remember that show we gave you about all that? And I wrote it down and told people about it, and the Braves on horseback and all, etc. Why hasn't some of that happened? Because there have been more people wake up. And that was part of the dream. That was part of the vision. Because so many people are asleep, more people are going to get injured. More people are going to die. But the more people who are waking up every single day is changing future events. Now, if we're looking backwards, how can we change the future? How can we stay focused with our energy in a positive, direct, forward kind of progress? Well, we can't. So in our training of this, let's see what we can view in the near future. Couple of days. Don't try not to go past a week, because there's way too much chaos for this, okay? But just try a little bit of remote viewing on your own. Show me what could happen in the future. Now, what I do is I glean through all the different radio, television, YouTube. I go through all these channels, and I kind of see what's going on. And then I say, okay, here's the big picture. Show me what could happen out of this. And when I see it, and when I see that, there's a lot of shit leaning in this direction, that's where I send my prayers. That's where I send my meditation. There's a lot of leaning going over here. I don't want that to happen. So my force, my energy, my thoughts, my process ain't behind me what happened. It's in front of me that is a very possibility, but I don't want it to happen. It's nasty, it's cruel, whatever it is. I wish, I pray that doesn't happen. I pray there is a different outcome. That's how we change this. That's how we work on this. And as we train ourselves to look forward more, using the ancient wisdom and the knowledge, but to look forward. What do I see coming? Well, these assholes are going to vote Kavanaugh down. I got pissed about the girl thing, and they're trying to make it out as rape. Okay, but the thing is that I lost it in that respect. So I lost 2 days worth of energy, when what I wanted out of that was for people to understand, it's all bad, but there is worse. And please don't compare feely to rape. Please. It's obnoxious that you would do so, etc. Please don't do that. Please think of, these things in their proper perspective. So now my prayers are still in that Now, whether or not Kavanaugh is the right choice or not, I don't know. Everybody's crooked at some point. You know what I'm saying? He's got a pretty decent track record. His opinions differ, but my opinions 10 years ago were different than some of them, my opinions now. Do I think the world is going to blow in half? Do I think, there's going to be a comet the size of the moon strike the earth? No. There are different possibilities and probabilities in that. But the thing is that where my thought pattern was 10 years ago ain't where it's at now. Isn't. So how can a judge who was, worked under Bush and Cheney and all them with that duress, how can he be? I mean, a lot of us were affected by what went on back then. Is he the same person now, 18 years later? Can you say, well, he still feels the same way? None of us feel the same way as we did back then. None of us. So we are all progressing. We are all making this transition together so that the ascension can happen for planet Earth. Now, planet Earth is already on her way. So look at this as a training session and make sure, okay, I'm going to look back today, but I'm looking back today to see what it'll help me for tomorrow and the next day and for future events. If you're just looking back just because, and you're not using that information, or you're not trying to draw upon the wisdom that you spent all that time looking backwards for, then maybe it's worthless. And that's what I meant when I've said before, and I'm going to kind of say it now. All of the years I've spent looking in the past hasn't done me diddly for what's to come. Only in the wisdom that I learned. It's not the stories, it's not the history, it's not the this. Did I gain any wisdom from those 40 years of studying, Actually, it's more than that. I mean, I was studying in high school, so let's put this right. I've been studying literally for the last 55 years. So, but with that said, though, I'm still learning. I still see things. I'm still, the veil in my eyes are still being lifted from my brain and things. And I'm still recovering from, the traumatic brain injury. So, but I understand that I'm still in training. There are a lot of people who say, oh, I got this. Well, Ascension, we're all going to get it. We ain't got to do shit. We just got to be love. Oh, it's so much more than that. I'm love. That's really cool. But do you know what it means? Can you explain it on different levels? Can you go inside yourself and explain this? Oh, I am love remark. Can you? I'm asking with you to do your own homework on this. I'm not criticizing you because I am love as well. But there are folks, it's just like they have no other words. I am love and that's it. Hang on. There are other things. What about compassion? Well, I love you, but do you have compassion? Do you have kindness? Do you have, but I am love. Yeah, well, okay. All right. I love my dog, but I kick it when it's mean. I mean, come on. I don't have a dog now, and I didn't kick it when it was really mean, and I had to, I'd give it a boot in the butt. But to the point, though, it's like, can you understand this do no harm to any being yet? Does that fit in your definition of love? Well, I love everybody. Yeah, but do you love everything? Well, I am love. Okay. And I'm not picking on anybody. I promise I'm making a valid point here. This is a critique. And if you can't handle the critique, then get out of the kitchen. Okay. Can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Because when training classes really do hit hard for all of us, you're going to have to go through these things. You're going to be critiqued. People are going to go, well, yeah, but what does that mean to you? Well, I am what? Describe it to me, please. Now, this is going to be your teacher on the other side. They're going to come in and they're going to go, so, okay, Hawkeye, what does that mean? Does that include this? Well, crap, I never thought about that. Uh-huh. Well, did you think about this, Hawkeye? Well, I don't know. I wasn't aware of that. Uh-huh. Gotcha. So there are people who are on the right road, who are doing good things, and make no mistake, I'm not bitching at anybody. But in this learning, training thing of this ascension transition, can you be your own critique? Can you accept a critique from someone else? Can someone else say, well, that's all you talk about anymore? Can you bring up something else? Or are you going to go back over the same subject for the next year? Just asking, because the whole point and part of this is to make progress, to train for it. So did you go out and meditate with a tree? Well, yeah, it's really cool. Did you go back? Well, no, it was just cool. Well, but you're supposed to go back. I am? Yeah, you're supposed to go back and talk to a rock. And then you're supposed to go back and talk to the grass. And then you're supposed to go back and talk to the, well, all you said was just talk to a tree. Well, yeah, you talked to it, but did you meld with it? What do you mean by that? Could you feel yourself as a leaf? I don't know. Well, but you would have known had you been training properly and had you followed the instructions and had you, well, no, I just went under a tree and meditated. That's what you said. You see what I'm saying? So there are folks who are like, well, they're going through the actions, but they're not trying. They're not really training. They're just like, okay, here it is. Oh, that's really cool. But are you putting it to work? I can't answer that, and not here to do so, but I am here to do a little squiggly thing in your brain and go, are you really training for this, or do you think you're training for this? I know I'm in training, but to other people, I think, and I don't mean everybody, trust me, I'm not picking on anybody who watches this from another channel. I'm not picking on you, okay? I am trying to point out something that is necessary. When I was training with shamans and Native American Indian medicine men and so forth, they asked me questions all the time, and I had to be, as the student, I have to be, well, I'm not quite sure. How can you become a teacher if you can't answer the questions to your own instructor? If you don't have an instructor, then how can you describe anything? Now, your instructor could be dreams or whatever, or things. But the thing is, now that I keep telling folks, there's so much chaos right now. People who are going out into this astral world and stuff are encountering all kinds of stuff. People who thought the air was clear, there another bombardment of some evil sons of bitches came in, and now we got to deal with this crowd. Okay, some of these other entities were cleared out, but they had called in reinforcements, and while we were cleaning out this last batch of baddies, this other batch popped in. Now we got to deal with the reinforcements too, and they're a whole different class, but they all want to destroy us or enter us or use our energy, whatever. So it's like, okay, so we got rid of one group and then another one snuck in. Still have to deal with it. So if you're putting yourself out there on the astral plane and doing these things, be very cautious, especially now, because where even 6 months ago it was pretty severe, we're really in some tough times now. So if you're new at this, stay close to home. Don't wish for a bunch of stuff right now, because what you wish for can come in as a lie, and that's going to affect your future thought. How do I progress for tomorrow? Just take a look at your environment. And I mean, socially, if you live in, like, okay, I grew up in Tampa, where stuff's going on in Tampa, blah, 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 blah. Look at your environment and see what you can change. And if you say, well, there's nothing well, then you just gave up. You failed in that part of your training, because everything we do every day can be changed. Everything. Now, it might only be that much, but everything can be changed. We can change it to a better point. There's something each one of us can do. I'm here to tell you. It might be a nanoparticle difference to the good. But like me getting pissed off the other night and doing 2 videos on it, that just sent negative energy out to the universe. I wanted to teach people about this and bring them awareness. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to shoot off my mouth the way I did. Shame on me. So all of us, stick with our training. Trying to put our forethought into this rather than hindsight. Forethought, not hindsight. If you're standing on the path of enlightenment and you're seeing way too much darkness, then maybe you need to just turn around. Doesn't mean leave the road. It may mean you just need to turn around. You may be walking towards enlightenment backwards because your eyes are seeing where we've been, but not where we're going. Now, again, where are we going? We're going to a better place, or a better place in thought, a better place of the heart. So focus on those things. Well, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Well, neither do I. But if I make positive thoughts and say, you know what, tomorrow, fewer people are going to die. More people are going to get fed. If I just put those positive thoughts forward, that's what we're talking about. I wish more people to come to the peace agreement. I wish more people to understand. I wish more people to be aware of certain things. I wish people would quit fighting each other over stupid stuff. I wish people could understand what a critique means and accept it as such versus, well, I can't listen to this sumbitch no more. He just pissed me off. Sorry about that. But if there are things that are pissing you off in that respect, then you're going to have to go to the kiddie pool and stay a while. You're going to have to play it. You're going to have to learn these basic things. And this is the angel message. But at the same time as my own 55-year plus road into enlightenment and understanding about this and spirituality, it feels right. It feels right in here. It's not like a bunch of hooey. The more I focus on good things future, the more future good things happen. The more I look in the past and bitch and complain, how can this make a difference? The more I have not a clue about future events. Also, I'm spending too much time looking backwards. How the hell can I pray for the betterment of a future event if I'm just concentrated on looking backwards? So I'm repeating myself again and again and again. Face forward, turn around, let that good light shine you in the face. Does it mean you have to try to run? No. It means just face it. Go forward. You can look over your shoulder every once in a while. Refer to the past. I always do. But the thing is, let's take that information, all of what you already know, and point it forward. Point it in the direction of progress. Point it in we are making a difference. We are making a difference. But we can make more of a difference if we make sure we're in the right direction. Most of the folks that I talk to, chat with, they're pretty much aware. But a lot of them, I got to say, I just go like, oh, man, come on, guys. You know, next step, keep going. And they just want to talk about this is really cool and everything. And the lights are cool and all this stuff and everything. And it's like, but you're not moving. You're stuck. Please move forward, everyone. So the end of this is my prayer. Number one, I thank all of you. I love you all. I do. And please accept this as a critique. Look up the word. Am I being critical to what you're doing? No, not specifically. But if you watch this and you get pissed off at what I got to say, then you got some learning to do. Because any good actor will be able to accept a critique, even though it might seem just stupid as hell or out and you got to take it and go, well, you know what? Maybe that director's got a point. If you argue with everything, then you'll never improve, never. So I'm just a director in this, okay? I see a way for all of us to do this with our core beliefs, having nothing to do with religion or anything to do with any kind of special verbiage or we got to do incantations. We're all spiritual beings simply because we are. And when we just open ourselves up to that realization, and here we are. Okay. So my continued prayer for every single being on this planet, especially you folk, because you've got an edge on this. From my soul heart and my soul's heart, and my heart, soul, and soul's heart, I wish joy, peace, love, companionship, compassion to all be. I wish for you to accept and receive the natural healings from the universe, from the cosmos, from Source. I wish and pray for you to accept and receive all the healings, all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom of the ancients that is there for each one of us and all of us. I pray this every day. I pray it several times a day, and I include everyone that's in my little subscription list on YouTube and on Facebook. So with that, I'm going to conclude this. I wish you all well, and I hope this makes a little bit of sense somewhere down the line, because we're all in training, and we're not just going to go into Ascension. We got to train for it. We got to. And it's not Ascension, it's transition. I didn't put it in the title, but I'm going to tell you. And that's what they keep telling me. This is transition, guys. This is not Ascension. You can't learn to swim by diving off a diving board in the middle of a frickin' ocean and expect that, well, okay, you're going to survive. Not without prior knowledge and training. How do you swim? How do you do the backstroke? How can you learn how to float? Come on, guys. It's simple. We got to go through this training. But at the same time, we can help each other. At the same time, we can be nice to each other. We can understand that, I'm going to give a critique here. Take it for what it's worth. And not that I'm picking on anybody, but this is important. Because if you can't see it, then, well, that's just one of them things you got to learn. It's just there. Through all the Buddha training, through all the Christ consciousness, through all the training and everything that I've been, all the shamanism and everything, until you drop who you are and become what you are. Meaning we are spirits. Who I am is all the stuff that society and what I've learned. And okay, so my outside self, that's your house, that's your car, and okay. But who are you? Who's the spirit driving the vehicle? Does it matter if it's Cadillac or a Mitsubishi or a tricycle? No. What matters is that we understand our spirits and we stay with that. So love to you all. Be kind, be patient, and above all, be there. Understand we're in training. The